Hello everyone, welcome to the CSAT weekly session of LevelUp IAS. So in this session, we will complete our CSAT 2023 reading comprehensions. So we are still left with 5 passages and we will see what different kind of passages you get in the exam. And again, the approach that we follow, option elimination, reading the options first, passages and so on, right? So we'll start with the first passage for this video. So in this passage, you have pharmaceutical patents grant protection to the patentee for duration of patent term. So we are talking something about the patent and protection rights and everything. Next, based on the above passage, the following assumptions have been made, and then you look at the options also. In options, it is 1, 2, 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 3. That means you have done this in GS also, that once you get an option like this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, you can do this question using elimination. So for example, if I know that example I'm taking, if I know 2 cannot be my answer, then I can easily eliminate option A and D both, right? So from option elimination of these assumptions, we can see which one should be the answer. But there is one more catch. You have to check whether the options can be eliminated or not. This is reading comprehension and these are assumptions. So it is not compulsory that in all the cases options will be eliminated. Okay. So let's read the first assumption. Patent protection given to patentees put a huge burden on public's purchasing power in assessing patented medicines. So this is true. When you give patent, now I always say use your GS knowledge, general knowledge also. This is true. When you give patent protection, you limit that only this firm can produce this because it is their right. Okay, so what we do is we make it a little bit inaccessible to the public because the firm can put a price on their own products. There is no healthy competition in the market, right? Next, you have dependence on other countries for pharmaceutical products is a huge burden for developing and poor countries. Now, this can be the answer. We will see whether we are talking about the dependence of these poor countries on the developed countries or not. Providing medicines to the public at affordable prices is a key goal during the public health policy design in many countries. Okay, so this can also be the answer. Although providing medicines at affordable prices is the key goal, it may seem dicey because key goals can be different. It is not always true that the key goal is providing medicines at affordable prices, but we will see author is talking about which of these in the passage. Then you have government needs to find an appropriate balance between the rights of patentees and requirements of patients. Okay. So again, this is a very generalized answer that yes, government needs to find a balance between, obviously, if you will not give rights to patentees, they will stop doing research and development. They will stop investing in it because फायदा क्या होगा, right? Similarly, एक balance the government needs to find. Now we will read the passage. So in the passage you have pharmaceutical patients grant protection to the patent. Pharmaceutical patents grant protection to the patentee for the duration of patent term. The patentees enjoy the liberty to determine the prices of medicines, as I told you. Then you have which is time limited to period of monopoly but could be unaffordable to the public. If you have monopoly over a product, you can decide the price of the product individually, right? So on your own. So basically you can put the price as high as you want. That is why monopoly in this market, it makes it inaffordable for the other general public to buy the product. Then you have such patent protections offered to the patentees is believed to benefit the public over longer term. So what we are saying it, for let's say you get patent for 10 years, so it is 10 years ke liye the product will be inaffordable. But after the patent protection gets over, imagine that the product that has been developed after so much research, it will benefit to you in long run because after patent protection gets over, then Anybody, generic medicines can be produced using the same recipe of the product, right? So that is why we are saying in the long run it is beneficial, although in the beginning it may or may not be expensive and unaffordable. So in this passage you see author is firstly talking about patent protection, क्या होता है, it makes it unaffordable. Then author is also giving another point of view that in the long run it is beneficial. So what is the author doing? Author is not inclined towards one thing. He is saying that this is also important, this is also important. So if you have to make an assumption, that means author is saying ये भी balance लेके चलो, balance this also. It is important to give patent protection, otherwise research and development नहीं होगी, companies को benefit नहीं होगा, they will not invest in research and development. And at the same time author is also saying that yes, you have to strike a balance between these two things, because वो patent protection दोगे तो inaffordable हो जाता है. Then you have benefits over long term through innovation and research and development, although it comes at a cost in the nature for higher prices for the patented medicine, patent regime and price protection. Through a legally validated high price for the medicine during currency of patent, provide the patentee with a legitimate mechanism to get returns on the cost incurred in innovation and research. So in the whole passage, author is talking about only patent protection, rights of patentee, how it becomes unaffordable and what you can do. Then now if you read all of these, nowhere has it been stated that dependence countries के बीच में comparison नहीं है कि how poor countries are dependent on developed countries. So option 2 will not be my answer. Providing medicine to public at affordable prices is key goal. See, again in the passage only author is talking about how a patent is also important, giving patent is also important, not just the key goal should not just be medicines at cheap prices, because then research and development nahi ho payega. But even if you think that this is the answer, now isme in the passage there has nowhere been any discussion about public key goal for health, nowhere, right? So this is not what the passage is focusing on. First one, patent protection given to patentees puts a huge burden on public's purchasing power. Yes, this is true. And the fourth one, governments need to find an appropriate balance. Government needs to find an appropriate balance. This is also true. Yes, 1 and 2. Option B, this will be my answer. Okay. So, as you see that in this question, all the options were looking like they can be the answer, but once you read the passage, you can clearly eliminate option 2 and 3, because obviously 2 and 3 के बारे में author का कोई point of view नहीं है. It is not about developing countries, poor countries and so on. It is more about the patenting the medicines and the people who want to afford the medicines, striking a balance between these two. Next, moving on to passage 2. Now it is a small passage, so what we can do is read the passage first. See, when you have a big passage, now this is also how you distinguish how to change your approach. When you have a very long passage, then instead of reading the complete passage, what you can do is start by reading the options first. Okay? Why? Because instead of reading such a long passage, you can clearly, if you can eliminate options, it will become easier for you. पूरा passage समझना, इतना बड़ा passage समझना, remembering every key point that the author is saying and then coming to the answer is confusing. But once you have eliminated, let's say 1 or 2 options, then it becomes easy. So when you have a very big passage, go by reading question and option first. Now in this is a very small passage, so I have to read it completely and it won't take much of my time. So I can do that. Next, India should ensure growth of digital economy while keeping personal data of citizens secure and protected. Yes, Okay, so हम again first line से ही I told you author is doing what? Author is basically holding your hand and telling you ये देखो मेरा point of view समझो, ठीक है? तो India should, author का point of view क्या है कि India should ensure digital economy की growth, but along with protection, secure and protected. No one will innovate in a surveillance oriented environment or in a place where individual's personal information is compromised. So once you get to know that personal information is compromised, वहां पर तो कोई innovation होगी ही नहीं, because anything if you will make, you know, if you will innovate, कुछ भी नया करोगे, it will get leaked. So why would you do that, right? So basically it is about how digital advancement होनी चाहिए, at the same time personal protection of it is also important. Next, ultimate control of data must reside with individuals who generate it. They should be enabled to use, restrict or monetize it as they wish. Therefore, data protection laws should enable the right kind of innovation, one that is user-centric and privacy protecting. Okay, so we have all done all of this thing in our GS also, and it is very basic general knowledge. Next, based on the above passage, following assumptions had been made. Protection of privacy is not just a right, but it has a value to the economy. Now again, we were just discussing how if you are not giving privacy, if you are not providing all of these rights, right to privacy, then individuals will not even do innovation, right? They will not even do any, any advancement. So obviously it is important to the economy. There is a fundamental link between privacy and innovation. Again, almost the same statement, privacy or innovation में there is a link. Privacy होगी, then only people will innovate, otherwise they will not innovate. So both 1 and 2, option C will be my answer. Okay. Now, so in this one, instead of reading options first, we followed the other approach of reading passage first. Why? Because passage was so small that उसमें इतना time नहीं लगता. Right? Now, passage 3. Again, let's read the passage. In India, while the unemployment rate is frequently used measure of poor performance of the economy, under conditions of rising school and college enrollment, it paints an inaccurate picture. Reported unemployment rate is dominated by experience of younger Indians who face higher employment challenges and exhibit greater willingness to wait for the right job than their older peers. Now, the author is saying that earlier we used to say unemployment rate. See, unemployment rate is frequently used as a measure of poor performance of the economy. But we have to change our approach because this is not the correct way. Why? Because earlier we used to say that people are unemployed because they are not getting jobs, and then that's why they are unemployed. Right now, what has changed in our economy is schools, colleges, and so on. People are enrollments are more. People are getting more educated. They are waiting for the right job instead of simply doing any job that they are getting. So this means that अगर आप ये सोचते हो कि unemployment rate ज़्यादा है in today's economy, that means it is a poor performance of our economy. It is not the correct statement, because unemployment rate is also because of higher education. People are willing to wait for the right job. Okay, so then unemployment challenge is a greater for people with secondary or higher education, and rising education levels inflate unemployment challenges. Again, as you learn more, you get educated more, you get more degrees, you expect a better job, a higher paying job, a job with better facilities, white collar jobs, right? So that is why you wait. Okay, so many of us, after getting our degrees, we wait, and then we are not willing to work the job we are getting because we are waiting for something better. During that period of time, you can say that this person is unemployed, but that does not represent bad position of our economy, because the person is unemployed by choice. He or she is waiting for the right option. So this is what the statement is. Now, once you understand the gist of the comprehension, it will be easier for you to understand the options also. Which one of the following statements most likely reflect as to what the author of the passage intends to say? Enrollment in school and colleges is high, but there is no quality education. Not possible at all. Author, first of all, quality of education के बारे में we haven't discussed anywhere in this passage. Also, we are not saying that कि quality of education है ही नहीं. This is such an extreme option. Then you have unemployment must be seen as a function of rising education and aspirations of young Indians. Yes, this is what the author was talking about in the complete passage. That unemployment is because rising aspirations hai. People don't want to settle for less. Next you have, there are no labor intensive industries to accommodate huge number of unemployed people. We are not talking about this at all. Okay. Next you have, education system should be properly designed as to enable educated people to be self-employed. Again, see how big of a extreme statement it is. It might not seem extreme to you, but if you think about it, क्या statement में बोल रहे हैं? Education system should be properly designed so as to enable educated people to be self-employed. Of course, self-employment is a goal, but ऐसा education system होना चाहिए. Imagine that if I am saying unemployment is an issue, so what should be the solution? That everybody should be self-employed. No, people have to do jobs. You have to generate jobs. So again, this is one of the extreme options, right? Even if you do not think that this is an extreme option in the first go, you can also see that यहाँ पर कहीं पे भी education system में क्या changes होने चाहिए. In the passage we are not talking about it. Okay, so option B is the most favorable, and technically the correct answer is option B. Okay, now moving on to the next passage. What you can also do is, while doing the video, you can just pause on the screen, okay, read the passage on your own, and then you can solve the answer first, check whether the answer is correct or not. Also, when you listen to the explanation which I am giving, you can see whether you are understanding that explanation or not, whether you are getting your answers. Ki, let's say your answer is incorrect, whether you are understanding why your answer is incorrect or not, you can do that. If you have any queries, you can also comment below on the videos. So, you have science by itself is not enough. Now, see, in this one, you have a big passage. So, what I will do is, I will read the statement first. Which of the following statement best reflects most logical and practical message conveyed by the passage? Modern statements need to be well trained in scientific methods and philosophical thinking to enable them to have a better perspective of their roles, responsibilities, and goals. Okay. It is not desirable to have governments managed by empirical statesmen unless well mixed with others who are grounded in learning and reflect wisdom. Okay. As the statements of bureaucrats are the product of a society, it is desirable to have a system of education in a society that focus on training its citizens in scientific method and philosophical thinking from a very early age. Next we have, it is desirable that all scientists need to be philosophers as well to make their work goal. It is desirable that all scientists need to be philosophers as well to make their work goal oriented and thus purposeful and useful to the society. Okay, here we are talking about, in this statesman, it is not desirable to have a government managed by empirical statesmen unless well mixed with others who are grounded in learning and reflect wisdom. In this next you have, as statesmen, again, product of society. In this you have, all scientists need to be philosophers. Okay, so all the four, first of all, statements give you different themes. Now, let's read the passage. Science by itself is not enough. There must be a force and discipline outside sciences to coordinate them and point to a goal. It is not possible to run a course right when the goal itself has not been rightly placed. Okay, so science alone is not enough. You have to coordinate them, point towards the goal, and then जब goal ही right place पे नहीं होगा, how will you make the goal? What science needs is philosophy. Science को चाहिए philosophy. Analysis of scientific method and coordination of scientific purpose and results. Without this, any science must be superficial. So we are talking about how science in itself is superficial. You need philosophy with it. Then government suffers precisely like science for lack of philosophy. Philosophy bears to science the same relationship which statesmanship bears to politics. Movement guided by total knowledge and perspective as against aimless and individual seeking. Thus, as the pursuit of knowledge becomes scholasticism when divorced from the actual needs of men and life, so the pursuit of politics become a destructive bedlam when divorced from science and philosophy. Now understand. This is a philosophical passage. Previously we did passages that were based on your GS knowledge and everything. Again, this is my advice that if you cannot understand anything from this passage, it is because it has so much of content and it has a lot of complicated language as well. If you cannot understand the complete content of the complete passage, and also you cannot understand how to eliminate options, then the correct thing to do, right thing to do in your exam is do not attempt these passage. You will not get more philosophical passage that are this tough. This is one of the passage जिसका level of difficulty is slightly higher than the rest of the passage that were given to you, because firstly इसका theme है philosophy का, second passage is long, options are long, ठीक है, पढ़ने में भी time लगेगा, then understanding the passage in itself takes a lot of time, right? So when you have a passage like this, and if you cannot understand anything, even the statement or even the statements that are given as well as the passage that is given, please do not attempt this, because you know in CSAT you have to get qualifying marks. Incorrect if you will attempt, you will get negative marks of 1/3 of 2.5, which is not good for us, which we do not want to do. Okay, and in English also, you know that you cannot check whether your answer is correct or not. So accuracy hona is important, right? So don't do that tukka wala cheese in this kind of question. Now, see, we'll understand what the passage is saying. Firstly, science by itself is not enough. Science पहले तो ये introduce कर दिया कि science जो है itself it is not enough. Philosophy is important with it. Next we'll see what science needs is philosophy. यहाँ तक तो हो गया. Now you see, government suffers precisely like science. That means government में भी कुछ चीज missing है. Government is suffering like science for lack of philosophy. What is missing? Government also lacks philosophy. Philosophy bears to science same relationship which statesmanship bears to politics. Philosophy and science, just like philosophy is important to science, statesmanship is important to politics. Movement guided by total knowledge and perspective. That means ये कि philosophy bears to science as same relationship which statesmanship bear to politics. The relationship is movement guided by total knowledge and perspective as against aimless and individual seeking. Okay, so aimless और individual seeking नहीं, instead of it statesmanship क्या होती है? Total knowledge and perspective का movement. Just as the pursuit of knowledge becomes scholasticism when divorced from actual needs of men, so men and life. So pursuit of knowledge is redundant जब आप divorce from actual needs of men and life. So the pursuit of politics becomes destructive bedlam when divorced from science and philosophy. Politics also, just like that, politics also becomes destructive जब आप उसको science and philosophy से you differentiate it. When you divorce it from science and philosophy. Now we'll move on to options. Modern statesmen need to be well trained in scientific method and philosophical thinking to enable them to have a better perspective of their role, responsibilities, and goals. Now, again, this can be one of the solutions. Next, you have, but we are not talking anywhere about कि modern statements में क्या होना चाहिए and everything. There is nowhere it is given that you have earlier it was this, now modern times it should be this. It is not desirable to have governments managed by empirical statesmen unless well mixed with others who are grounded in learning and reflect wisdom. Next, you have, as statements, bureaucrats are product of a society. It is desirable to have a system of education in society that focuses on training its citizens in scientific method. We are not talking about system of education की philosophical thinking through education. सिर्फ ये बताया कि how philosophy is important, but nowhere has it said कि आप अपने education system में philosophy को लाओ. ऐसा तो कुछ भी कहीं पे भी author ने convey नहीं किया, right? It is desirable that all scientists needs to be philosophers. We are not even talking about how scientists need to be philosophers. We are talking about how philosophy is important in science. Similarly, governments should also be like that. So same thing, option, you can do this using option elimination. We can see that B is the most rational and most rational message that is conveyed. It is not desirable to have governments managed by empirical statesmen unless well mixed with others who are grounded in learning and reflect wisdom. Okay, so option B will be your answer. Now let's move on to the next passage, which is passage 5, also the last passage of CSAT 2023. Again, you have that the passage is very small, and if you read the options first, you can see that based on above passage, which of the following terms best expresses the ultimate goal of the state? The personal safety, health of body and mind, communal harmony, liberty. Whatever the passage is, you can only tell what is the best expressed goal of state if you read it completely. Option elimination से नहीं होगा. Then, last end of the state is not to dominate men, not to restrain them by fear. Rather, it is so to free each man from fear that he may live and act with full security and without injury to himself or his neighbor. If you are someone who has done GS preparation in a proper manner, you will be able to see that this is liberty. Giving freedom, but also giving freedom to do something, but also restricting that you cannot do something that will restrict other person's basic freedom, right? The end of the state, I repeat, is not to make rational beings into brute beast. Complete freedom nahi ki kuch marzi karo. There is limit, okay? And machines. It is to enable their bodies and their minds to function safely. It is to lead men to live by and to exercise a free reason. That is, they may not waste their strength in hatred, anger, and guilt, or not act unfairly towards one another. You know that this is what? This is not personal safety. This is not health of body and mind, not communal harmony. This is simply liberty. We have also read this in our politics and everything. We do polity, maybe the definition of liberty. This is basic theme जो कि GS की knowledge से you can solve this question. So as I said, now what all points have we learned till now from our CSAT 2023? We saw that there was one question, one passage, ठीक है? उसमें क्या क्या problems थी? First of all, it was a philosophical passage. ठीक है? Theme was philosophical. Second, it was a lengthy passage. Lengthy passage. Third, language. Difficult to understand. Language difficult to understand because not many statement question, not many statements were there which were completely logical, right? They were all very philosophical statements. Then you have language was difficult. Then options, lengthy. First problem, इतने lengthy options plus difficult to understand language. Plus difficult to understand language, also interpreted. Only this one passage was here. So this is the passage that you should most likely not attempt because this will harm your accuracy. Next point that which we learned was, if passage जो है it is very lengthy, ठीक है, then options first. Go by reading options first so that you can eliminate easily. If passage is of normal, if passage is very small, then you know passage पढ़ना ही है, बाद में पढ़ना, after options, before options it is the same thing, तो पहले पढ़ लो, बाद में पढ़ लो, right? So you manage that accordingly. Then next thing was, yes, mostly you could do your questions using option elimination, even though जो correct answer था, sometimes you will not, there was this passage and we discussed this point that correct answer was not that approachable to me. While reading the answer I was thinking, okay, maybe this is not the most appropriate answer, but when you read the options you eliminate other options, so you know that yes, this is the only one left, so yahi answer hoga, right? Option elimination. Next, in the last passage, as you saw, GS knowledge. Never forget that what you read somewhere, what you are reading for GS doesn't mean that you will not apply it anywhere. Keep an open mind while attempting your paper, whether it is CSAT, whether it is GS, keep an open mind. Use knowledge of one subject in the other one. Okay. So this was all the things that we could interpret from our CSAT 2023 paper, and you saw that there was only this one passage that had all the issues of understanding also and everything. Apart from that, there were very few passages of that was too lengthy as well. There were passages that could easily be attempted. Those have easy options also, small passages. So you can easily, out of 27 questions, you can easily do 22, 23 तो बहुत आराम से you can do which are correct also. Okay, so thank you so much for attending this session. In the next one, we will discuss CSAT 2022 question paper.